All right. It is Sunday night and September 22nd. We're going to be talking about inflation, asset prices, and a massive problem that I believe not enough people are talking about in terms of personal finance and the average state of this economy and households. Households are getting left behind. The middle class is getting wiped out. And this is going to be just some basics that we'll dig into. And so first off, hopefully, if anybody is out there and seeing this, if you see any, if you hear any issues of audio, please let me know. So I'm going to check this real quick. Check. See if this is going to all the platforms, and we're going to do this real quick. Do a quick. First off, hopefully. Yep. Okay, we're working. All right. So I'm going to bring up a chart. Okay. We're going to start with inflation, okay? And we're going to come back all the way, income, asset prices, and why the rich keep getting richer. And this will be a nice little exercise. Okay, so let's see if we can see this chart on the screen. All right, so bear with me. I'm going to just take a second and wait and make sure that this screen is sharing on the feed here, because the last time when I shared my screen, it did not work. So bear with me here. I just want to check. I just want to check. Okay. I think we're working here. I think we're cooking with Crisco. Okay, so this is the inflation chart here. Okay. So you can see 2020, this is when COVID hit, everything crashed, stock market crashed, which if I flip over to the stock chart, you can see stock market crash right here. We started in the 3,380 range. So SPY 338 crashed and then just massive rebound here. So 2020, 2021 is where things peaked for a bit on the stock prices. Inflation, you can see inflation start really going crazy at the end of 2021 and then into 2022. And so, again, I'm going to bring us all back to how the middle class and everybody else is getting left behind, and how inflation, rich get richer, and what is bound to happen if rates come down next year. And I'll get to that in a second. I think you're going to see a massive widening in asset prices and massive widening between the top and the bottom. So this is going to be the fundamentals of how this stuff works, because inflation literally means prices of goods going up. And if you don't own anything, if you don't own any assets, any stocks, bonds, houses, crypto, then when inflation goes up, you're going to get left behind. And so we saw interest rates come down massively in 2021, and obviously prices of everything has gone up. So let's look at this. The S&P 500, 3,380, and then within 18 months, 4,800, 4,700 or so. So that's an increase of what, 50%. And we saw a pullback, and then now we're talking, 550s. So, that's a 65, 75% return in just a few years, in just 3 or 4 years. So imagine a stock portfolio that is $2 million. And let's say that the portfolio went up 75%. So I'm going to times that by 1.75. So that $2 million portfolio is now $3.5 million. So that's a $1.5 million gain. Now let's say that you're 35 and you don't own a house. You've got a little bit of savings. You've got a portfolio, a 401k that's $25,000. Well, your $25,000 portfolio just went up to $43,000. Great. People are winning, but the rich keep getting richer. And what happens is that, let's say you've got a $5 million beach house or mountain house, Airbnb, going into 2020, and then now all of a sudden, after a few years, now it's going up. Now that's the stock market, 75%. Now the housing market a little bit different. So median sales price is the middle of the entire pack. So 317 to the peak of 442. So that's roughly a 30 something percent increase. Now I did include average sale price because this is a little bit of a different calculation, because again, this is talking about the rich getting richer. So median is literally the middle. Average is taking all of the homes out there, the top and the bottom, which again, the top, the billionaires having $10 million property, $20 million property, $100 million properties, all this stuff goes into the equation. And so the average home price is going to be a little bit higher. So going into COVID, the average price is around 370, 390. And then as of right now, it's 585. So that's what is that math? 585 out of 370. So this is the math on that. 585 minus 370 divided by 380. So that's a 56% return in terms of appreciation. So let's say you've got a $5 million beach house, mountain house, and now you've just gone up by 56%. That's $7.8 million property. So now what's interesting is that when mortgage rates were in the 3s and 4s and 2s, you were able to pull cash out and pull money out to be able to do the next thing. Maybe it's buy the next property, invest in your business, do home improvements, pay off debt, et cetera, et cetera. And so if I've got a $5 million property and all of a sudden now it's 7.8, and then I want to pull cash out, maybe you pull out $2 million to go buy the next thing, I've just increased my portfolio. Now I've got a locked in 3% rate for the long term, and the rich keep getting richer. If you own nothing at all and you just have savings or cash, you literally have no return. If you don't own a house, if you don't own stocks, if you don't own crypto, you get no return on your dollars. Now, maybe you get 3, 4, 5% in a CD or a savings account, or people are putting money into treasury bonds. That's great. But we're talking about leverage. And so this is kind of coming back to owning real estate. So I'll give you an example that I give a lot when I speak to audiences, but talking about comparing the stock market versus owning real estate and a little bit of the leverage. I want to come back to median household income, because this chart tells a lot here. 2018 median household income. So this is households, right? Not just individual, but households. $75,000 in 2018. 2019, again, this is inflation adjusted. 2019, $81,000, and actually went down going into COVID. And then you saw this dip the next couple of years, and it's rallied to not even where it was in 2019. So inflation adjusted income is actually lower than where it was pre-pandemic. But what about inflation? What has inflation done to our dollar? It's taken every single dollar we own, every single dollar that we earn, and your dollar is going further by 25% than what it was before. So every dollar you earn, if let's say you're going to bring $100 into the table, that's now purchasing $75 from 2019 dollars. So cost of living going up, your budget's going up because of inflation. Your income is actually going down. So guess what? If you're not saving money in this environment, you're getting left behind. This is where we are. We got, I think the number is 100 and something million households. $140 million households in America. And the median income, we're saying, so the middle is in the 70s or 80s as a household. There was a stat that I pulled from ChatGPT, pulling some Federal Reserve data, that about 56 million households are not earning $60,000 in a year. 56 million households not earning $60,000 as a household. 56% of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. This is from Bankrate data from 2023. 56% of households, of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. So you can see the massive problem that we have in terms of the savings rates, investment rate from the middle to the bottom. And we're talking tens of millions of people that are struggling to get by, and the middle class getting wiped out. The rich are getting richer. If you own assets and inflation happens, your value is going up. Now, back to this example of owning stock versus real estate. Let's say you've got $10,000. I'm gonna come to this median household chart just to get that back in there. So bring up the calculator. So let's say you've got $10,000. Okay. And let's say you put it in the stock market. Boom, stock market. And let's say you get 10% return on your money. And that first year, how much is your return going to be? So $10,000 at 10%. How much is that return going to be? So what's the math on that? Well, we're going to times it by 0.1, and that's a $1,000 return. Cool. That's in a great year, 10%. Now, let's say you take that $10,000 and you decide to put it into real estate, and you're going to buy your first home. Let's say you're going to buy a $300,000 house, and you're going to put down $10,000, which is basically 30% down, which is allowable on a conventional loan, for example. And let's say that the house is going to appreciate 3% in the first year. So the house is going to go up 3% in the first year. So you put 10 grand in, the house is going to appreciate 3% in the first year. How much of a return are you going to get on your dollar? Oh, that cleared out fast. Damn. Okay. Well, what's the answer? 10%. Sorry, 10K on 3% on a $300,000 house. Well, I get an incorrect answer so many times. Sometimes it's 300,000, sometimes it's 3,000 or 1,000. But the answer is actually 9,000. So let's do the math. 300,000 times 0.03, 9,000. So $9,000 of return on that home. And so you put 10K in, but you own the entire asset of the 300,000, and the entire asset appreciates. Versus the stock, where you put in 10K of stock of dollars in to own the stocks, and the stock goes up 10%. So you just own the $10,000 worth of stock. Whereas in the real estate scenario, you're getting leverage by owning the entire asset with only putting a fraction of ownership into the process. So that's where, again, if you own real estate, if you own property, that's where you can get leverage on your return and appreciation. So back to the problem we have. People are struggling to make income. People are struggling to save money. And we're in this new normal with AI. We are in this new normal where people are building agencies on the side, side hustles on the side. There's this creator economy that's out here building income streams and building wealth. It's out there. There are people doing it on the side of a job. And that's why we've got this mini-series, 100 Stories of Increasing Income, that we're going to be rolling out soon. One of the people that comes to mind, Parker Biederer, who had a healthcare job and started his journey in Amazon FBA and Amazon arbitrage back in August of 2023. And within about 8 months, scaled his agency and was in some masterminds and groups to help accelerate the process. And he paid money to do so. And obviously, I think when you're with experts, it's worth the money. He retired from the job in, I believe, April. Quit the job, went all in, and is continuing to scale his business. So that's what's out there. That's what people are doing. It's not everybody, but there's a creator economy, and people are getting ahead. And I think that's where there's an opportunity for someone who's making $40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 a year, and maybe not able to make ends meet. $60,000 is not enough to make ends meet. I talk to people every single day in my mortgage job, and people are struggling, and the media is not talking about it. There's not enough people talking about it. And so we're talking about increasing income. So what if you can add an extra $1,000 of income into your budget? What would that do to someone's savings opportunity, into their budget, into potentially being able to invest in the future? And it's not just the dollars. The dollars obviously are important. You can put it into an investment vehicle. Maybe it's saving up to buy a house. Maybe it's saving up to put into IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, stocks, bonds, crypto. Maybe it's a side business. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. There's different opportunities to be able to invest. But it's also the belief and the opportunity to have confidence that there's a way out. If you're working 2 jobs right now and you're not saving money, that is deflating. That is deteriorating. That's recipe for burnout. If you're not seeing any wins, if you're not capturing wins every single day, that's a missed opportunity. It's a recipe for burnout. So the person that's working 2 jobs and not saving money, you got to cut something. You've got to cut something out of your life. You got to cut something out of your budget. So pick one thing, one major thing, focus on that one thing and get it out and start saving some money. Get some, maybe it's $100 a month. Maybe if you can save $200 a month, just something small to get the ball rolling, to get that domino effect going. Just some little wins are enough. And that's one of the things that I see is that there are wins out there, and I don't think enough people are recognizing them. And when you don't recognize the wins, then you can't build and stack, and that's a missed opportunity. So if you've gotten this far, we're live in Forest Park here in the heart of St. Louis. It's a Sunday night, 9 o'clock. This brand new, gorgeous basketball facility open until 10 o'clock at night. We're going to be doing this every other Sunday for the foreseeable future to just talk about income streams, talk about wealth, the wealth building process. What does it take to get ahead in this crazy environment coming out of a massive inflationary stretch here? It's coming down, but the damage is done. Just because inflation is down means that the next set of data is not 9% higher or 5% higher. It's only 2 or 3% higher than what it was previously. But the damage is done. Your budget's already been high. It's already increased, and your income is not. So if your budget's gone up 25%, but your income has actually gone down, it takes an extra 25% more income to be able to even it out. And that's why we're talking about increasing income. Cutting and budgeting, it's great, not enough. Increasing income, we believe, is a path towards getting ahead and getting the ball rolling downhill. And so if you're seeing this, we do encourage you to follow, subscribe. So we're going to be sharing more stories and again, the guides that we're going to be getting and releasing with the different creators that have side hustles and side businesses and stories. We're going to be housing these guides in a school community. So stay tuned for that. And if you're a creator and you got a business that you want to share, please do reach out. You can reach us on Instagram. That's probably the best way. Strive for 25 on Instagram. Message me there. And I'm happy to talk and connect. Very active there. So if you have any questions anytime, you can reach us on Instagram. So like, subscribe, follow us. We can't wait to do this again in a couple Sundays. It's 9 o'clock Central. Thank you so much for your time. And we will talk.